Hello, and welcome to the Law School Playbook. I'm Hallie Hara, and today's topic is using your law school outlines. If you are looking for a video on how to create outlines and why to create outlines, you'll find an outlining video under our Essentials series. This short video is instead focused on how you might use your outline during law school for studying. So just know at the outset, like many other things with respect to law school studying, there are various options available to you. So it's really just a matter of trial and error to see what works best for you in a given course. So what works well for somebody else may not work well for you. So just focus on the fact that there are a lot of options and you can play around with those until you find one that resonates with you. So focusing on the memorization piece, how do you remember all those rules? How can your outline help you to do that? You can turn your outline into flashcards. So as we know, outlines should be created around rules and not cases. The cases and hypotheticals are merely examples of how a given rule works. It's important that you know the rules and the key words and phrases within those rule statements. So in our outlining video, we had a fictitious swimming pool law course. Pulling from that course, this is an example of what a flashcard would look like. You can handwrite the flashcards. You can also use electronics, whether it's Quizlet or spaced repetition, to make your own. But an example would be putting a test on the flashcard so that you can remember it when it comes to exam time. So here we have name the three-part test used to determine appropriate water depth for children. And the rule being, if the child's under 16 with no adult supervision, then the child's height must be 8 inches taller than the water depth. So this is something that you can pull on from your, draw on from your previous education. Flashcards are very helpful for the memorization piece, and your outline can organize all of the information that needs to go on to those flashcards. Similarly, mnemonics, also something you may have used in undergrad or in other educational contexts. Those also work well for memorizing pieces of your outline. So here I have the in-pool rules, the various categories of them, which will help me with an issue spotting exam. So those categories are hygiene, behavior, foreign objects, and children. And if I want to be sure to memorize those categories of in-pool rules, I will maybe create a sentence from the first letter of those categories, such as, in parks, hot benches bring fear out in children. So it would be up to you whatever sentence you would make up. Usually the sillier, the better, but that's another way that you can use your outline as a tool for memorization. The whiteboard challenge works really well. And you don't need a whiteboard for this. You could also do it on a piece of paper, but the idea is for memorization, again, to cover up a portion of your outline and then write down everything you remember about that piece of your outline. So let's say you are focused on battery. Cover up battery, write down everything you remember about battery, the rules, the sub-rules, even examples of how the rule works, and then go back and forth between what you've written, either on the whiteboard or on a piece of paper, and fix what you didn't know. So that's another way that you can sort of test yourself to memorize using your outline. And then option 4 might be the most important. I want you to recognize the dynamic duo, that memorization is the floor and not the ceiling. So what you also need to practice is applying. So that's what lawyers get paid for, is their understanding of the rule and how that applies to a new set of facts. And in order to do that, you're going to use your outline with practice exams. Those two go together like pancakes and syrup. So the way you're going to do that is to take a practice exam under exam conditions, preferably timed and such, and then go back to your outline and see how well you did. If you struggled with a certain piece of law in your practice exam, odds are that piece of your outline needs bulked up. It's not working for you. So you're going to do this and go back and forth between practice exams and your outline, kind of tweaking each right up until final exams. So that is one way to use it for the very important piece of understanding. The bottom line is, don't just sit there. Do something. Do something active while you're studying. Law school class prep is different than law school studying, and you need to be studying for the final exam throughout the entire semester, which means you have to think of things that will have you actively engage with the material. So, handwrite your outline over again, or draw posters or create mind maps from your outline. Handwrite the rules or elements. You can make an attack outline. You can compare your outline in study groups. There are countless ways to use your outline, but the important thing is that you do it in an active way that is working for you. So I hope that's helpful. As always, I'm here to answer any questions, but in the meantime, just do your best and know that I'll be rooting for you. Thanks.